Positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is the most powerful tool we have. With it, we can change the world. The use of it more frequently by more people on a daily basis can absolutely change everything. All the negative aspects of our society, quick tempers, refusal to compromise, failing relationships, mental health crisis, abuse, neglect, all of them can be diminished with increased use of positive reinforcement. We can soften tempers in households and in workplaces. We can increase efforts to find common ground with others. We can decrease the divorce rate. We can reduce depression, anxiety, and the suicide rate. We can lower the number of people and animals being abused and neglected if each of us make a conscious effort to use positive reinforcement more frequently, to look for an opportunity to thank or praise someone at least once every day. The ripple effect can be enormous. This is what I want to prove to you today. The power to change the world lies in each of us. So to get started, let's define positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement. A behavior occurs, something good happens because of it, and the behavior is more likely to occur again. It's that simple. A behavior occurs, something good happens, and because that something good is enjoyed by the receiver, he or she wants to demonstrate that behavior again so that the something good may occur again and the enjoyment can occur again. So positive reinforcement changes what other people feel inside. Wow, that's powerful. I mean, if my actions or words reflect positive reinforcement, then I am changing how other people feel inside for the better. And when people feel better inside, their attitudes and behaviors change too. Now, if I can start a movement where lots of people are focused on positive reinforcement, then collectively, we would be helping many, many people to feel better inside and many, many attitudes and behaviors to change. Having more people feel good inside and share their goodness with others, that's how we change the world and reduce all the negative aspects of our society. It all comes back to that something good that occurs after a behavior. The something good that makes someone want to repeat a behavior. That good thing is some kind of reward, and it can look or sound in a multitude of ways. It can last 5 seconds, 5 minutes, or even longer. It can be tangible and extrinsic in value, or intangible and intrinsic in value. Extrinsic rewards include stickers, smiley faces, stamps, and candy, in addition to games, electronics, clothes, and cars. These things are tangible. We can touch them and we can hold them. But when we have them, we feel good inside. We feel appreciated, valued, noticed, motivated, and we want to earn that again. Intrinsic rewards are those where the reward is more heartfelt, such as verbal praise, hugs, smiles, winks, high fives, spending time together, taking walks together, geocaching, getting to pick the game being played, the food being eaten, or the movie being watched. These things are intangible. They cannot be held in our hand. But like extrinsic rewards, they make us feel good. We feel appreciated, valued, noticed, and motivated. Over time, getting rewards of any type make us feel so many positive thoughts and feelings that our self-esteem and self-worth are also positively impacted. Now, how could a movement like this not change the world for the better? Regardless of what the good thing or reward looks like, the bottom line is positive reinforcement is used to praise the behaviors we want to see repeated. What we praise, we increase. So I ask, What do you want to see increased around you? Are you praising it when you see it? A simple please or thank you, giving eye contact with a smile. These actions are praise. Even with small gestures such as these, you never know the difference you're making in someone else's life, or ultimately, the world at large. Positive reinforcement is not only a term for parents and educators, but a practice for all humans as we venture through each day, touching hundreds of lives along the way, even in the tiniest way possible. Let's think about the workplace. These principles are true for adults in the workplace. Positive reinforcement builds a strong culture of teamwork, acceptance, productivity, and loyalty. Positive reinforcement can be a major change lever for an organizational culture. We all want to be praised for honest, hard work and great dedication. When we receive it, we work harder to receive it again. No matter what form the positive reinforcement takes, it encourages employees to not only meet expectations, but exceed them. Aubrey Daniels explains it well in this quote: "Positive reinforcement generates more behavior than is minimally required. We call this discretionary effort. And its presence in the workplace is the only way an organization can maximize performance." This is a profound lesson in leadership. Positive reinforcement is integral for an effective and desirable workplace. Leadership First outlines the top 10 qualities to make a great leader. Over half of these are related to positive reinforcement: inspiration, communication, confidence, commitment, attitude, honesty. And in more recent times, organizations such as the Emotional Intelligence Network would add empathy and emotional IQ to this list. Appropriately so, I think. But most of these qualities are impacted by positive reinforcement. Leaders who use positive reinforcement are strengthening these qualities in themselves and nurturing their development in those around them. Positive reinforcement and praise augments work cultures, thereby also increasing productivity and success. Positive reinforcement can absolutely be a major change lever for an organizational culture. Reinforcement attracts success. This success is not limited to the workplace either. This theory of reinforcement attracting success is omnipresent. It is equally powerful in professional life, personal life, and social life. Using positive reinforcement in the public arena is the most interesting and potentially most impactful of all. It is so open-ended. It could be anything, and so potentially life-changing for the receiver. This is where you really don't know the difference you are making. Call it the butterfly effect. In chaos theory, the butterfly effect refers to the sensitive interdependence in our environment, how a very small change in conditions can create a significantly different outcome. Two analogies are common for illustrating the butterfly effect. One of them: the flap of wings of a seagull on one side of the world can cause only a few weeks later a massive storm on the opposite side of the world. Or, as it's named, butterfly effect, a distant butterfly flapping its wings on one side of the planet can cause a tornado on the other side of the earth only a few weeks later. The point being that a very small change in conditions can alter an outcome significantly. That's what I'm talking about. A very small change, a few sentences said to someone in praise or acknowledgement each day, could alter an outcome. It could change the world. I heard it on Jurassic Park too. The first one, Dr. Ian Malcolm, played by Jeff Goldblum, talked about chaos theory and the butterfly effect. His character is one who applies chaos theory to real life scenarios. He explained it as: A butterfly flaps its wings in Beijing, and the weather in New York is different. Pay it forward is another illustration of how positive reinforcement can change the world in the public arena. Pay it forward, also called serial reciprocity. Many of you know it as a movie from the year 2000. But it depicted this ideal, the movie did. In essence, paying it forward occurs when the beneficiary of a good deed repays that kindness to others rather than paying it back to the original benefactor. Something good was done to or for me, so I will do something good to or for someone else. That's the movement I want to inspire. When you receive goodness or positive reinforcement, spread the joy by doing the same to others. Use positive reinforcement to pay it forward, and together we can change the world. There is a third excellent way to prove to you that positive reinforcement and praise performed by me and you on a more regular basis can change the world at large. The ripple effect. Technically, a ripple effect occurs when an initial disturbance to a system propagates outward to disturb an increasingly larger portion of the system, like ripples expanding across the water when an object is dropped into it. Well, I want this movement for hope. This focus on positive reinforcement in effort to change the world, I want this movement to have a ripple effect, spreading across the world incessantly. I heard something related on NCIS recently too. They talked about hit and runs, the good ones. When you do or say nice things, and you are not around to witness the impact of your nice thing. So you may be inclined to think that your behavior was irrelevant. But in fact, it could have been life-altering for the individual. Just because you didn't witness the effect does not mean those actions weren't impactful. You never know the difference you're making. We can start our own movement of positive reinforcement, thereby causing a butterfly effect. And as we pay it forward by noticing others and showing appreciation for their efforts, we cause a ripple effect of good hit and runs. This positive impact would be exponential and absolutely world-changing. It's opening a door for someone, helping someone carry a heavy load, paying part or all of someone's bill, or assisting someone in finding something or somewhere. It can be a simple please or thank you. When those words are said to someone, he or she is likely to feel appreciated and valued, thereby receiving a reward. In the behavior of the good service, the kind gesture, or the extra mile, is more likely to be repeated in the future. From the dry cleaner, bank teller, or grocery store clerk, to co-workers, bosses, and subordinates, to children, significant others, and family members. We can do this. Something small can dramatically impact the outcome. Positive reinforcement in the public arena is a pivotal change leader for our society. To further emphasize the need for positive reinforcement in all areas of life and the power that lies within it, I want to talk for a moment about the equal, or sometimes greater, power of negativity. Negativity is the antithesis of positive reinforcement, but equally powerful. It is what breeds all these horrible things that go on in society: abuse, neglect, divorce, violence, apathy, and hatred. We must use positive reinforcement, its polar opposite, to fight the evils that lurk in our society and to change the world. But to fight it, you must understand its power. The Society for Wellbeing in 2017 reported that it takes 5 positive outcomes or comments to outweigh 1 negative comment. So I ask you, think about those things in your life to whom you have given negative feedback. Have you given them 5 positive forms of positive feedback to balance it? Probably not. And I get it. There was no stronger revelation for me than when I was teaching in the classroom and I was evaluated on this very thing. I was working on my master's degree and doing research, and we were having a lot of conversations and debates around various types of positive reinforcement and the value of each. I was aware of positive reinforcement and the power of it, and I thought I was harnessing it. So, as a part of my research, I asked an outside observer to simply tally mark throughout one entire school day how many statements of praise I gave versus how many of constructive feedback. I was astounded at the results. I had 2.5 to 1 ratio. I was very much out of balance, nothing compared to the 5 to 1 ratio recommended. And I was trying. I was aware. Of course, I tried even harder after that and conducted the experiment at various intervals throughout my tenure in the classroom. Also a piece of my research, and thankfully I did show greater balance over time. But it took two things: concerted effort and elevated awareness. I can't put in the effort for you, but I can call this issue to your attention. That's one of my goals for today, for you to realize that positive reinforcement matters. It is powerful. It can fight evil. But you're probably not using it to its fullest extent yet. That ratio of 5 to 1 may sound shocking or even unrealistic to you, but I've seen it in action. I have witnessed my family, my students, my coworkers, and my bosses change when positive reinforcement became a common part of our days. Having greater balance to your remarks, focusing on saying more positive things to others, these things change you. They change those around you and the environment in which you are in for the better. Part of the reason this ratio is so dramatic is because it seems that a lot of us tend to glop onto negative comments. Seems like those snide negative comments are coated with super glue, and the positive ones are like post-it notes. Remember that when you're saying and doing things. And are they things that are going to stick like super glue, or are they things that'll hold on like post-it notes? Have you given 5 post-it notes to make the positive feedback stick around longer than the super glue? Unfortunately, we all find the negative easier to believe, so we are more likely to hold on to the negative feedback than the positive. I mean, think about it. What scenes do you replay over and over in your head? The ones where you were praised, acknowledged, or celebrated? Maybe some. But how often do you replay the events and words that were negative, offensive, or even infuriating? All of us replay the negative ones more. So if we focus on more positive reinforcement, we are supplying others with fewer negative events and words to replay in their heads. Perhaps we are even replacing them with something more positive. Furthermore, the more we focus on trying to voice positive reinforcement, the more we are thinking positively and looking for positive things around us. Can you see the domino effect of this movement? I hope you are starting to see how it can change the world. Believing in negative thoughts is the single greatest obstruction to success, says Dr. Glassman. Yet, it is the most common obstacle for people to face. If most of us hang on to negative comments more, and most of us do not achieve a 5 to 1 ratio with positive comments, then most of us are seeing the single greatest obstruction to our success: negativity. We must fight these negative forces that are fueling evil in our society. We fight with positive reinforcement. The goals of positive reinforcement are to reinforce specific behaviors for replication and to facilitate strong feelings of self-worth in the individual receiving it. Well, the only thing within our control is ourselves. So the change must start with you, with me, each of us. Imagine if every one of us made a distinct and concerted effort to give positive reinforcement to just one person each day. a family member, child, significant other, coworker, person we see each day, or a stranger on the street. Over time, the impact would be enormous and absolutely world-changing. Not only for the receivers, as they have a moment of feeling good and feeling motivated to replicate the behavior, but also for the givers, as they see something good in another and had to, for just one moment, focus on something positive. When we commit to giving positive reinforcement to just one person each day, we train our minds to look for something positive in others. What we see depends on what we look for. Training your mind, building and strengthening neural pathways in your brain. There is an actual physiological process related here. Every time we do something or learn something, we either build a new connection in our brain or we strengthen an existing one. Like a path through the woods, ones used often are well worn and revisited often because they are cleared of debris, they're easy to walk, and they present lesser resistance. Ones not used very often are grown over, sometimes difficult to find and cumbersome to navigate. It is the same in your brain. Reactions, thoughts, and activities engaged in often have strong, clear, and easy pathways. Your brain is well versed in traveling on that pathway and having those reactions, thoughts, and activities. They're done without much thought. They're habitual. But reactions, thoughts, and activities not gauged in very often or never have vague, cluttered, and difficult pathways to travel. So completing those tasks is not as automatic and habitual. Which neural pathways do you want to be so well worn that they are almost automatic? The positive and motivating ones or the negative and destructive ones? It all depends on which ones you use more often. When we look for positive things, we see positive things. When we say positive things, we stimulate positive feelings in ourselves and in others. When we hear positive things, we feel valued, validated, and appreciated. Use your eyes, ears, and voice to build a culture of positivity and optimism around you. Make optimism, hope, and positivity your well-worn pathways. Come back in a few days for part 2 of this series, where we're going to focus on how to maximize the impact of positive reinforcement by ensuring that we are using it well.